Welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel, where today I wanted to do just a quick update on some interesting stuff I found at Axeman Surplus. If you're a longtime channel subscriber, you've heard of Axeman Surplus, you've seen Axeman Surplus, you've seen me do tours of the store, and I talk about it all the time because I get a lot of interesting junk from there. It's a local surplus electronics, industrial, medical, scientific, and just general stuff store in the Twin Cities. There are 3 locations, the main one in St. Paul, there's one up in Fridley, there's one in St. Louis Park, and I'm in there fairly frequently, probably at least once a month to one of the stores, just looking for something for an electronics project or just looking for stuff that I don't know I need, but I desperately have to take it home once I see it. People frequently ask in the comments about ham radio equipment. They want to know what kinds of radio gear can you find at Axeman. Here's a quick look at some stuff that I've found there in the last year or so. Now, I don't tend to buy a lot of ham radio gear because I don't really have a ham shack, or at least I didn't until recently, and I'm a little bit worried about building up too much stuff where I will never actually get around to it. But I have picked up 1 or 2 things that will hopefully be showing up in future videos. These are all from Axeman Surplus. And I'll show a couple other things that I've seen at Axeman recently along the lines of ham radio gear. Now, I definitely should mention that not all this stuff is going to still be available. Axeman Surplus is a very ephemeral place when it comes to electronics gadgetry like this. Things come and go. Some of these things probably aren't there anymore. Some of the things that you'll see in this video are probably gone. But if you visit Axeman Surplus, which I highly recommend, if you're in the Twin Cities or just stopping through, go to one of their stores, go to all 3 of their stores. You'll probably find some things that aren't in this video. You'll find new ham radio related stuff that I don't even know about. And you'll find all kinds of other interesting stuff, as you've seen in all of my Axeman Surplus videos or my project build videos where I create stuff out of things that I've found there. Really quickly, as a preview of some stuff that, again, will probably be showing up in future videos, I have a few radio scanners that I found there. This one is an old Radio Shack. I think this is something like a Pro 200. There were a bunch of different models, though, back when Radio Shack was in operation, and they're pretty decent, solid scanners. I also picked up a few of these handheld CBs. I have an idea for kind of some underground radio, and lower frequency AM stuff like CB tends to propagate better through rock than modern FM and VHF, UHF radios. So this might be something I play around with at Sandland in the future. I do kind of like these older CB radios. I used to get these when I was a kid because people would basically give me this stuff. They'd be throwing it out because it was kind of the old outdated stuff at the time. This is just a simple 2-channel AB switch. Somewhere in here there's going to be some crystals that control what channels it's on. So yeah, crystal technology is something that I like to play around with when I was a kid, and I still want to play around with a little bit. Likewise, this is a Motorola handheld radio, but it has an E.F. Johnson mic, and I think they go together because it's kind of a hardwired mic. Axeman had a whole bunch of E.F. Johnson stuff recently. I say recently, this was like 2025, so if you're watching this in 2026, I don't know if they've still got the same stuff, but they, I think, got a closeout from the former E.F. Johnson factory in the north suburbs of Minneapolis, and they had all kinds of radio stuff, microphones, speakers, parts and accessories, vehicle mounts. This is a kind of a cool little walkie-talkie. It's got the external mic, but it actually also has the pull-out antenna. So yeah, a very early walkie-talkie. It also has a belt clip. I also have another little radio transmitter, a FM transmitter. So this is kind of a personal radio station or a bug. It's a little big for a spy device, but this is the kind of thing you could buy in the back of kids' magazines in the 80s and 90s as a spy gadget. So you'd stick this somewhere and it would transmit on, I think this one is 98.5 FM. It just has a microphone on one end and an antenna on the other end. So I might do something with that in the future too. Now, this is something that Axeman had a bunch of, these Sirius XM satellite radios, and these are something I'd like to play around with. I've been trying to figure out when Sirius XM does their free trial periods when you can actually use these without a subscription. I think I missed it. I think it came up over Thanksgiving or something. So yeah, this front panel like ejects and you can just use that as the radio. So this is the receiver, is this little gadget, and then the rest of it is just speakers and an amplifier. So I've got some ideas for that. And I picked up another Sirius XM. I think this is just supposed to be a car receiver. Yeah, just interesting gadgets. They're cheap. This was $195, so I figured, yeah, why not? I'll get a weird little satellite receiver for that. And then they had some antennas. Can sometimes reuse these for other satellite frequencies, other satellite bands. So I've got a few of these. Yeah, another one here. They're very similar to GPS patch antennas, which are fairly easy to modify if you want to do stuff like Iridium, Inmarsat, L-band, microwave satellite networks. And then one more antenna. This is actually, I think, a World War II military antenna. I thought it was kind of cool. You can kind of bend it into different shapes. It pops apart. You can transport this in a backpack, or I believe it was possibly for like a backpack radio during World War II. I am not sure what frequency it's tuned for. I don't know if I can use it for anything, but it was $5.95. So I thought, yeah, that's worth it. It's a military antique. You can't hardly get this at a military surplus store for $6. And Axeman doesn't always have military surplus. They're more industrial and kind of business closeout type surplus, but every now and then they do have military things. All right, let's see what we can find at Axeman today. There's some really cool stuff like that little Motorola lunchbox radio, but I already have one like that, and I don't need to fill up my house with more stuff. Really, all this stuff up in the front of the store, I want all of it, but I cannot afford all of it, and I don't have space for all of it. Even if I had infinite money, I do not have infinite space. But just look at these cool old radios. I just love the form factor on some of this. I mean, here's a whole box called Walkie Talkie Town. Who doesn't love Walkie Talkie Town? More old CB handhelds, more just random stuff. I'm so easily distracted in here. Like, look at this Heathkit thing, this U-matic keyer. I have no idea what it does, but it seems to be some kind of a Morse code thing, maybe. And then Palm Pilots. I love Palm Pilots, even though they are completely useless. And all right, I'm getting distracted now looking at computer drives. We've got, yeah, floppy drives. We've got, yeah, whatever's going on here, some kind of interface. We have some CB stuff, and not quite sure what some of these things are. This looks like some kind of amplifier or filter. Looks like a low-pass filter. Yeah, that could be useful for something, but I have no idea how to use this, so I think we're going to have to leave this right on the shelf. And let's see, we've got some more radio gadgets. We've got, not sure what that is, but it has a mic on it. We've got a Loran. I remember Loran from back when I did some commercial fishing for my dad up in Alaska. This was a pre-GPS navigation system. We have this really cool thing with a tiny little CRT. Oh, Motorola Max Track. I'm familiar with those. I'm actually tempted by those, but what's this little thing? Yeah, again, I'm very easily distracted, and I don't know what half of this stuff is, so I just kind of look at it. It's got an antenna and a dial and some more CB stuff. Not sure what this is. Heathkit was big back in the 70s and 80s. This, I think, is some kind of repeater or amplifier. Again, not 100% sure. Now, if you're not local to the Twin Cities, Axeman does have an online store, although it's a little bit random of what's in there and what things they're able to ship. If you go to axe-man.com, you'll find some of their products. You can also find them on eBay. If you search Axeman Surplus, you'll find quite a bit of interesting stuff on there. Sometimes the nicer or higher end stuff ends up on eBay versus in the actual physical store. And the prices do tend to be a little bit higher on eBay versus the physical store, although they do let you make an offer on things. So this video is not sponsored by Axeman Surplus. I just really like the place. In fact, I might go shopping there right after I finish this video. And I do get a lot of comments asking for more information about Axeman, more about what kind of products they have. I just did a live stream recently, and some of the questions were, what's up with Axeman? Why haven't you shown them in a video lately? So here we go. And since I do get so many comments asking about specifically ham radio equipment or other surplus radio equipment, I thought I'd just focus on that a little bit and show some of the things that I've encountered at Axeman in that category recently. I hope everyone enjoyed this one. Stay tuned for future Axeman adventures, and if you want to see some video tours of a few of their stores, check out some of my past videos. I'll put some links up here in the corner, and then I'll have links down in the description to a few different walkthroughs that I've done of the entire retail store, just to give you an idea of how big and crazy these stores are and what kind of stuff they have. Thank you to everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.